Today, we're going to take another look at the Zoom G1 IV. Did I unfairly give this thing a bad review? What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Taylor and I do all sorts of guitar related stuff like this. On my channel. If that's something you enjoy, make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing while you're here. Now, I reviewed the Zoom G1 IV about a year ago, and I got a lot of backlash on that video. A lot of you did not feel like I gave this multi-effects unit a fair shake.
So far, this thing's really bumming me out.
And that's why I'm making this video today. I realized in that last video I came across as being biased and that you could think I was putting you down if you owned one of these or were interested in one. And the last thing I would ever want to do is disparage someone because, you know, this is all they can afford, or even just unfairly review it. So in today's video, what we're going to do is I'm going to plug into this guy, I'm going to demo it for you, we're going to try and make a couple patches, and then we'll also shoot this out against the king of multi-effects units, the 𝗬𝗂𝗃, which might seem kind of weird, but let me explain. The Zoom G1 IV comes in at just under $100, and the 𝗬𝗂𝗃 is way on the other end of the spectrum at around $2,000. So in the shootout, what I'm looking to do is see if the 𝗬𝗂𝗃 sounds $1,900 better. I realize that they're not even close to being the same thing, but you know, we're just trying to have a good time here. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you guys my honest thoughts and opinions on the Zoom G1 IV and the pros and cons of using something like this. And yeah. But before we do that, if you like my videos and you want to help me keep making them, there is a whole support section down in the description below with links to my Patreon. If you want to become a patron and join our private Discord chat I'm in all the time and see rough cuts of videos and stuff like that, then you can do that in the link below. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's get this guy hooked up. What's up guys, here I am again, plugged into the Zoom G1 IV. Interesting little fact, the first time I reviewed the Zoom G1 IV, I had a really hard time keeping it upright like this for the camera, and that's what led me to buy this little, it's like an iPad or a tablet holder or something like that. But that's what led me to buy that thing so I could make these videos, and that's already a win for the G1 IV. So I'm plugged into the Zoom G1 IV, I'm recording the direct audio out, meaning we are using the cabinet simulation inside of the Zoom. Here's what the first patch sounds like. So since that first review, I've learned to navigate this thing a little bit better, and let's talk about it a little bit. The first button over here switches between the memory, which is just displaying the name of the patch you're on, and then if you press it again, it will go into the stomp mode. Each one of these buttons will bypass or engage each one of the different stomp blocks here. So you can see I have a 𝗀𝗀 into a Marshall 𝗂𝗵𝗃, and that is going into a Marshall 4x12, and that is going into a noise reducer at the end there. And there's also plate reverb at the end, but I'm not gonna engage that one. And then if you press this button again, it goes into the edit mode, meaning you are editing each one of these stomp boxes. So if I wanted to edit the 𝗀𝗀, I go to this one here, and you can see I can adjust the gain, bass, treble, and volume. Let's turn the volume all the way up on that. I mean, I am trying to use this as a boost after all. Doesn't sound bad. It's not the most inspired 𝗂𝗵𝗃 tone I have ever heard, but sounds all right. Okay, so here's where it gets a little bit tricky. If you want to change these stomp boxes here, what you have to do is you have to go to the edit, And then remember that your pedals actually work as buttons as well. So you can use the pedals to scroll back and forth between the different effects. And the effects aren't categorized like modulation, delay, reverb, distortion, cabinet, amp. They're all just kind of in this big list. So sometimes it can take you a little while to find the exact thing you're looking for, but that is how you change the different blocks. But the nice thing about it is with each one of these effects blocks, you're not limited to using just a delay or reverb or distortion like you are with a lot of the other budget multi-effects units. So actually what I want to do here is I want to go into the amp and let's pick a different amp. Fender Twin Reverb, Fender Bassman, Fender Deluxe, UK30, BG-MK1. Is this a Bogner? Bogner Ecstasy, High Watt 100, Recto Orange, Orange 120, DZ, and then we start getting into cabinets. Okay, let's go with the DZ drive, which is probably gonna be a diesel. I've been using emulations of this amp a lot lately, both in the Axe Effects as well as the CB4 plugin by ML Sound Lab, which is excellent if you haven't tried that out. They're not paying me to say that, I'm just kind of enthusiastic about it. Sounds good, I like it. Okay, and then over here we use these knobs to adjust the different parameters. So we have bass, we could probably cut that down a little bit. Mid, that's probably okay. Treble, maybe boost that a little bit. And then this one will scroll between the different pages. So on the second page we have presence, gain, volume, and on the third page we have deep and mid cut. Let's definitely turn that deep up. You gotta go really easy on that deep control. Okay, I'm really liking this tone so far. Now let's go over to the cabinet, and I really want to use something other than a Marshall 4x12, so let's go in here and see what they have. Oh, I gotta start scrolling the other way. MS 4x12 with greenbacks, Fender 2x12, Fender B 4x10, Fender Deluxe 1x12, UK 2x12, MK1 1x12, I don't know what that is. This is a Bogner 4x12. This is kind of an important point too that I need to bring up is anytime you pick a new cabinet, if you want to use the actual cabinet emulation, you need to make sure to turn the mic on. Kind of weird that it's off by default, but that's what it is. You know, that's not my favorite cabinet sound. Let's keep going here. A rectifier 4x12. An orange 4x12. And a diesel 4x12. Okay, I like the Mesa Rectifier 4x12. Big surprise. Now the second knob here will adjust the blend in between a 57 and a 421. I am gonna go full 421 on this guy. And then you can boost or cut the high and low end. I'm gonna give this guy just a bit more low end. Not a bad guitar tone by any means. Let's go back into our chain here and see what else we have going on. So we have the noise reduction here, and I haven't even changed anything on the noise reduction, But you can see it's doing a really awesome job, and it's very, very transparent as well. I would go as far to say the zoom noise reduction is excellent in this unit. Let's go back over here. Now I have this rack compressor in the chain and I want to move it. So what I'm gonna have to do here is go into setting and then click the first button here, which is going to represent the chain command. And that's going to allow me to grab this guy. And now I can decide where I want that in my signal chain. So really I want it at the second to last there. So now it's moved over after the noise reducer and before the plate. Now I can click setting to go back. Now let's go into the edit mode and edit this rack compressor here. And I don't want anything crazy. The only thing I'm trying to do is add in enough compression to simulate what you would have to do with a real amplifier if you were recording it in a studio. So since we can't set points on the ratio, I'm just gonna set that to 2, and we'll move the attack to very fast over here to 1. And the output volume, let's just leave it at 95. And the threshold we don't wanna go crazy with. I'm just gonna put the threshold down there at 40. Now another one of the unfortunate things about the Zoom G1.4 is even though you can assign any effect you want to these 5 blocks, you are limited to the 5 blocks, which means you can't get super complex with your effects chain. So what we're gonna do here in the end is I'm just going to throw a reverb on this guy. Spring reverb, hall reverb, HD hall reverb, or room reverb, soft echo. Let's go with this soft echo here. I actually think the effects sound really good in the Zoom G1.4. And then if we were gonna save this guy, we would go into the setting here and we would click the third button, which is gonna be save. And then you have to press both foot switches to save, which I can't do with one hand, so. Booyah. And now our effects chain is saved. All right, let's create a clean patch real quick here. And the first thing I have is I have an EP stomp. I'm going to replace this with I'm just gonna go with the basic compressor there. We'll come back to that. On the amp, I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with a Fender Twin Reverb, and we're gonna cut the bass on this guy substantially, boost the mids, boost the treble. What other options do we have here? Let's turn the bright switch on. We'll leave the gain where it's at for now. Now let's go back to the compressor here and the sensitivity. I don't want that, probably around 4. The attack, I want to be fast. Maybe even less than that. Let's go to the cabinet we have here, and we have a Marshall 4x12 with greenbacks selected, which is not, oh, look, the microphone's off. Funny. Okay, I think we're getting closer. I actually don't mind this cabinet for clean sounds, but let's switch this all the way over to the 57. And let's turn up the highs a little bit, maybe. Okay, and then the last thing we have here, we have a tape echo, which is awesome. I like the tape echo. We're gonna leave that as is. Maybe turn the mix down just a hair, and we'll keep the tails on. And there you have it, not a bad clean tone. You probably could swap out this noise reducer for reverb or something like that if you wanted a little bit more of a complex signal chain. Okay, but the only way to truly test the sound quality of the Zoom G1.4, you guessed it, in a mix. So what I want to do in this mix, which might seem kind of weird, but just go with me on it, but I want to shoot out this diesel patch that we made in the Zoom G1.4 against the diesel patch in the 𝗬𝗂𝗃. We're going to shoot them out both with stock cabinet emulation as well as using the same IR to take the cabinet emulation out of the equation for all of you that like to listen to them with the same cab IR. Okay, let's do that now. Alright guys, before I give you my final thoughts and opinions on the Zoom G1.4, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. How do you think it stacks up against the 𝗬𝗃𝗃? Do you think it's worth buying, one of the arguably most budget options out there, or should you save up your money and get something else? Let me know down in the comments below. So here are my thoughts on the Zoom G1.4. I think one of the biggest pros is that it's battery powered, meaning you can take this with you and your guitar and a pair of headphones and you can practice to it. It's got a built-in rhythm section, which you probably wouldn't use on any albums or anything like that. But it's definitely good enough to practice to, especially if you want to practice getting faster. You can increase the BPM, 5 BPM at a time as you nail the riffs with this thing. The other thing is I think it sounds really good. I think even though you're really limited in your amp and cab selection, there's still quite a few good effects in here. And even though you're limited to 5 effects blocks, you can still make some really usable signal chains. Now for the cons. There's really only one big con for me, and that is it's kind of confusing to use. The menus are kind of convoluted and they definitely don't follow the same structure as the majority of multi-effects units out on the market, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does take some time to get used to it. The other thing I would say is it's pretty limited in its processing power. Like if you're using an amp and a cabinet, you're going to be limited in the amount of effects that you can use in conjunction with that amp and cabinet. But overall, if you're on a budget or you're a bedroom guitar player, or you just need something small and portable that takes batteries so you can play it, down on the beach, whatever, this is a pretty good option. Special thanks to all of my awesome patrons for helping me bring you videos like this one, and if you're interested in joining my Patreon, there's a link for that in the description below. And as always, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.